Hi guys, it's Kieran. I'm going to do a quick full market update. So looking at the Bitcoin price action, you can see how essentially we have two separate channels. So you can see there's a channel here in this range here. So running between 15.5k, so the low of this year, to 25.2k. Then the top channel you can see is the midpoint is around 28k. And we're dancing and floating between 25.2k and essentially 31k. So it's just so important, Legends, how we actually hold this 25.2k level. Because if we lose this, then actually there's very little on the way till this midpoint to 20k. We also notice how this is a range here. And we can also see how there's been certain areas of supply really that have been tapped. So we have this breakdown here. And naturally, when I was saying so many times, when so many people are looking at the same trend line, there's one touch point, second one, third one, and then it becomes a bit too obvious and naturally we get an overshoot. But this could still be a bear trap. We could still bounce back up. And this is important we hold this. And you can see how I've drawn a supply box here. So we actually, this liquidity sweep over here. We also, if you use the trend mass liquidation level, you can see how we actually grab the 50x and 100x liquidation levels and then we dump back below. And then what's happened here now is that we reverse at this supply order block here, so the supply zone. There's also one much higher up here. So this is still possible in the cards. We still could go there. Now we've had a pullback, so this was actually a valid short we spoke about. But then looking at this, you can see there's certain confluences here. So we have this trend line, so we could still get it. We front ran this, but we could still have another push up. There's also supply zone here. And I also want to explain how we have a fixed volume profile here. So taking this huge snapshot, this is a very high volume area, so most of the transactions happening. And the value area low is around 26.2 and the value area high is around 29.8k. So we actually slightly rejected this point of control. And so essentially we'll go, as long as we hold this, it's actually not that bearish. 26.2k, we're still flirting with it. If we hold here, then there's actually very little on the way again to this point of control. And probably we can tap the 29.8k. So these are just things that I'm really looking at. From a more charting point of view, we can see how the weekly open, we went above it on Monday, but we're now slightly flirting with it and we're slightly below 26.2. So it's important we still have the liquidity here and liquidity here. And then, of course, look in the 15-minute chart, you want to look at liquidation. So from a day trading point of view, you can also check this. You can check this here and click on the color table, which is really nice. So looking at this table, you can see how you can maps it out. And if you are interested in this, do check out the description below for joining the MDX Algo Trendmaster community. It's an amazing group of professional traders. You get access to amazing live stream, and best of all, an amazing community of like-minded individuals. You can see how the market has moved from liquidity to liquidity. We grabbed this liquidity here, the 50 and 100x, and now we might get it pop back up. And so this is something I'm looking at here. So far, we're just slightly floating below the weekly open. So hopefully we can regain that. But it's so important to hold these levels, essentially. Let's look at some other things. So the retail stablecoin demand. So the way I do this here, it's still between 25 and 75. So you can see how there's not a crazy amount of commitment into stablecoins. It's just in between. So a bit of a no man's land there. And then looking at this from the 1 hour, this is the Harmony Oscillator. We had this dump here. This is a bit of positive. It's not surprising we had this push up. We can see here. So, we can just see how all these things are lining. And looking at some other markets, we spoke about how a lot of these markets look very, very eerily similar. So if you draw this, so it seems that a lot of these indices particularly are rejecting across like macro 786s, the Fibonacci. So we had this all-time high, we had a dump here, and we had a retracement here. So we slightly front ran the 786, sorry, the 886, and then we had a pullback. So we're holding the 66 here. Then similarly, you can see how the SPX is actually, this 4.3k level is just so critical to hold. If we lose this, and Bitcoin could honestly go down to 22k at least, and recover that really weekly imbalance. But you can see how it's just so eerily similar between these indices. Again, it's filling the 618. So we see how this progresses, and there's also a valid short opportunity as well. So I've put, this is supply zone here, and we might get a retracement here because we've taken out these lows. So even for SPX as well, and the US 100, so the Nasdaq. Actually, this one is not as best, but yeah, this is potential short opportunities that I'm looking at. Then, of course, some Forex pairs and gold. Gold, I'm mostly trading on the 1 minute chart. You can see how there's a bit of a falling wedge. So we have this, I can see how we've got this peak here. We're compressing here. And if we break above this, there's actually very little on the way to this price action here. You can see if we zoom out, you can see how a bit of a compression, eventually it's going to break out. Then, of course, looking at more other things, so like the oil chart. So the oil chart's been a huge tear. And of course, once we get a tag of this liquidity here, then that could be a potential short false breakout short opportunity that I'm looking at as well. They're looking at some other things. They look for some forex pairs, euro dollar again. A lot of these charts and downtrends. I'm planning. I spoke about how I planned that short setup earlier on, but I missed my entry. I limited it in, but due to exchange issues and just the fact that the structure broke very quickly, we didn't get that entry. But this is the aim of the game. And then this one, so this is like the supply block, or I'm sorry, supply zone that I'm looking to short. And then of course the New Zealand dollar is back to an area here, so this is a potential short opportunity as well. So, I mean, these are all things I'm looking at. We'll have a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance as well. Very important to look at. Because a lot of these altcoin pairings, yeah, of course, the altcoin can't go up in dollar value, but it's a lot of them are bleeding really badly to Satoshi value. You can see how we have this long macro trend line. So I would expect to push back up to 60%. You have to also bear in mind that a lot of traders and crypto people especially, they've not really seen what a 60% Bitcoin dominance actually looks like. The majority of people actually FOMO'd in around 2022, 2021. They've never actually seen any of this, so you have to be very careful. And I also want to highlight, like, a lot of altcoins are seeing like new lows since 2 years. For example, we spoke about how, for example, Avalanche, it was actually once a top 10. It's actually seen new lows. We've actually dipped below these December lows and this June lows. So it's very interesting. It just also, putting this whole picture together, it just reflects how perhaps we do get a surge in Bitcoin dominance soon. But guys, thanks a lot for watching. Do subscribe and put a comment in the comment section below for any specific video requests. I'll be more than happy to make videos on such topics.